Welcome in, everybody, to this KC Sports Report Chiefs post-game live stream. The Kansas City Chiefs went to Los Angeles, suffered some major injuries, but found a way to hang on to defeat the Chargers by the final score of 17-10. A game that, if you watched the first half, you did not feel very confident that the Chiefs would get the job done. Somehow, some way, they defied the odds and beat the Chargers in Los Angeles. An absolutely unbelievable win. Listen, I did not think that I was going to be sitting here 3 hours after that game, or I guess 3 hours from the game starting, talking about a Chiefs victory. Did not think that was going to be the case. The Chiefs somehow, some way found a way to convert late in the fourth quarter. They're able to sustain a really great drive led by Kareem Hunt, who we're going to talk about a lot in this live stream. And then Samaje Perine was able to get into the end zone, making the game 16-10 in favor of the Chiefs. Butker was good on the extra point, and the Chiefs were able to escape Los Angeles with a victory after Xavier Worthy iced the game late in the fourth quarter. All the Chiefs had to do was kneel it down, and they were able to escape this game with a win. But let's talk about something that all Chiefs fans really care about right now, and that is the injury status of Rashi Rice. Patrick Mahomes dropped back to throw through a bad, and I mean a bad, interception. He just overthrew Travis Kelce. And then as the Chargers were returning that interception, the Chiefs had a chance to get that ball back. They actually were able to force a fumble. And at one point, we thought that the Chiefs recovered the fumble. But unfortunately, the Chargers not only maintained the possession, but on that play, Patrick Mahomes tried to make a tackle and ended up ending potentially our number one wide receiver season by hitting Rashi Rice below the kneecap, seeing that leg hyperextend, and Rashi Rice was carted off. I mean, I watched it on the broadcast. He was laying down on the cart, towel over his face. He looked absolutely done. And it is a horrible thing for this offense, a horrible thing for this team. Tracy Wolfson had an opportunity to talk to Andy Reid at the end of the half and talk to him about, Rashi Rice's injury. And Andy Reid, who's usually pretty, calm about injury status updates, just goes, yeah, it's not good. It's not good at all. And listen, I don't think that Andy Reid knows the status of Rashi Rice. I mean, how could you at that point in the game? But listen, to see him not be able to get up and not be able to move that leg and getting carted off, I think that all Chiefs fans are kind of thinking the worst when it comes to Rashi Rice. But somehow, some way in this game, the Chiefs were able to rally and overcome that and win this football game. And listen, this was not a game that was easy to win, and the Chargers helped you out a lot with the false starts and the penalties, really handicapping that offense. But the Chiefs got very fortunate. I mean, they lost their wide receiver in the first quarter, and they were able to not only have more total yards, but they had more passing yards and rushing yards than the Chargers, and they also had more yards per play. So the Chiefs statistically dominated this game, but it only resulted in 17 points, and you were really stagnant on offense for most of the game. Now, Patrick Mahomes did have that deep bomb to Xavier Worthy for the touchdown at the end of the first half. That drive only took 8 seconds, and it was the longest touchdown pass that Patrick Mahomes has had in years. And Xavier Worthy to get involved in the offense like that after Rashi Rice got hurt, you absolutely love to see it. But outside of that pass and the Chiefs' late fourth quarter drive, this offense was not able to do much. And listen, I think a big portion of that is because you lost your number one wide receiver. Rashi Rice was going to play a massive part in this game, and taking him out of the game plan at the beginning of the game, clearly that is going to affect how your offense flows. And it doesn't help that Carson Steele, the UDFA out of UCLA, fumbled for the second time in 2 weeks, and that is a costly thing for this offense. And you basically saw after that Carson Steele was practically benched. He was in the doghouse, and they brought in Kareem Hunt, and Kareem Hunt looked like the guy that he was back in 2018. Kareem Hunt looked filthy, but we're going to talk about that later. But I just think that for the Chiefs to be able to escape this game with a win, with everything going against them, including the injuries and, just the play calling at certain times, I'm really happy with this win. I think that most Chiefs fans would have probably expected us to lose after, Rashee Rice goes down and the offense can't click, and you've turned the ball over twice in the first half. But the Chiefs somehow found a way to get it done against the Chargers team that also had an injury problem. But nonetheless, the Chiefs were able to, overcome that adversity and get the W. Now, I will say some encouraging things about the offense is that Kareem Hunt looks fantastic. I mean, listen, I know a lot of Chiefs fans really questioned if he was going to be the guy because you already had, Carson Steele and Samaje Perine, but Kareem Hunt had 14 carries for 69 yards, averaging 4.9 yards a carry. You could see it when he ran the ball, the physicality, the shiftiness, the ability to, spin and break tackles. That was something that this offense has lacked for a long time. And so seeing Kareem Hunt basically come off the street and produce like that, it was a massive thing for this offense. And you don't win this game if Kareem Hunt didn't play. He had 2 catches for 16 yards, also being a big part of this offense in not only the rushing game, but in the pass catching game as well. And Travis Kelce, the guy that all week I had to listen to every NFL media outlet talk about how Travis Kelce was washed. And Travis Kelce went on in this game and caught 7 passes for 89 yards. I'm so sick and tired of people saying that Travis Kelce is done. He is not done, ladies and gentlemen. He is just getting started. And if there was ever a get right game for Travis Kelce, it was clearly going to be against this Chargers team. The Chargers are never able to stop Travis Kelce, and they didn't have Derwin James in this game. And so without Derwin James, I thought that Travis Kelce could have a big game, and that's exactly what we saw from the best tight end in the NFL. And I think that going forward with this injury to Rashee Rice, it might be Travis Kelce time for the rest of the season. I mean, we don't know how long Rashee Rice is going to be out, but listen, man, I'm not one to throw around the season-ending injury term, but just watching what happened on that play, to say that he was going to be back in the next month and a half, I think is incredibly optimistic. Again, we don't know what he ended up suffering. I think it was a lower leg injury to the knee. It could have been an ACL, an MCI, or an MCL. You have no idea, but I think that the Chiefs training staff has to be pretty disappointed with what they saw on the field today with Rashee Rice. And the worst part about all of this is that your number one quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, took out the number one wide receiver in the first, half of the season. So terrible to see. And who knows if Rashee Rice is going to be back at any point this season. The hope is that he is, but man, that injury did not look good. And I don't want to speculate, but if it was up to me and just what I saw and how he reacted to that injury, man, you got to think that he's out for the season. You just got to think about that. And I think that it's time for Brett Veach to seriously, and I mean seriously, consider getting on the phone and making some phone calls to get a couple wide receivers in this offense via trade. I mean, that's not really the topic of this video, but man, it just seems like the injury bug has hit this Chiefs team. And while you did escape this game with Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Chris Jones fully healthy, and Chris Jones was an absolute monster in this game. I mean, he had 2 sacks that were big down the stretch, and you don't win this game without Chris Jones causing absolute mayhem up front. But those 3 guys, the cornerstone of your team, escaped this game healthy. And that is the biggest thing. I know the Rashee Rice injury sucks, but you have 15, 87, and I don't 35. I don't know Chris Jones' number. I'm not going to lie to you guys. But we have those 3 guys healthy at this point in time. And at the end of the day, that's really all that matters. And so how are the Chiefs going to find a way around the Rashee Rice injury? That's a great question. We saw earlier in the game, they tried to target Sky Moore on 3rd down. That shit didn't work. Sky Moore is a bad wide receiver. He's been bad since he came to Kansas City. I'm done. I think that Sky Moore probably played his last snap in Kansas City. I don't think that he sees the field a ton this season. I don't know why they just don't outright cut him, to be quite honest with you. But I think the Chiefs are unfortunately in a position where, due to injuries, they have to keep Sky Moore on this team. And he's probably going to get some more playing time because of the injuries. And that is so unfortunate because he does not deserve any playing time with how he plays on a consistent basis. But the Chiefs are stuck. They have to do this. And so I think that Sky Moore is unfortunately going to get more time playing on the field. But why don't we talk about the biggest phase of this game, the reason why you were able to win, and that is the Chiefs defense. The Chiefs defense was absolutely insane. The pass rush was great. Chris Jones, they're just, what do you say about Chris Jones? Chris Jones was night and day the reason why you're able to win this game. He just caused so much pressure up front. Even in the plays that he wasn't recording a sack, he just broke up that pocket, made Justin Herbert escape that pocket. And on that bad ankle that was taped a couple times in this game, he wasn't able to do anything. And so the Chiefs defense smothered this Chargers offense multiple times, deep into their own territory, and it caused them to punt, giving the Chiefs offense great field position. And that's really the only time the offense was able to function is with good field position. I mean, they were not really able to do much in terms of moving the ball down the field. And so it was really left up to the defense in going out there and giving the offense good field position. And that is a horrible position to put your defense in. But Steve Spagnuolo, man, Spags drew up a masterclass. He went in Los Angeles and bullied this Los Angeles Chargers offense. And without Spags coaching out of his mind in this game, drawing up the blitzes with Trent McDuffie and sending Chris Jones on the edge, you probably don't win this football game. And so once again, the Chiefs in these big time moments get the biggest advantage in their side, and that's the coaching staff. Andy Reid coached a very good game today. Spagnuolo coached maybe the best game I've seen him coach in quite some time. Without Rashee Rice, without the offense working, the Chiefs defense went out there and they balled. And if the Chiefs defense did not hold this Chargers offense to 10 points, you wouldn't have won. This Chiefs offense was going to have to scratch and claw for every single yard and every single first down. And they were able to do enough, but they were able to do enough because the Chiefs defense silenced that Chargers offense that has been pretty good this year. And listen, I understand the Chargers had some injuries. Joe Alt, their left tackle, didn't play, and it showed with all the false starts. And they didn't have Joey Bosa on the defensive side. But I thought that the Chiefs also had some injuries. Mike Dana didn't play, and Rashee Rice was basically out most of the game. And so both teams were laboring through injuries. And I even texted, I'm in a AFC West group chat. I texted the Chargers creator. It was basically like, this game is disgusting to watch. I mean, we went into half, trailing 10-7, but it was an ugly first half of football for Chiefs standards. And I think you can really see that even though they're not playing their best football, it's very apparent they're not playing their best football. But even though they're not doing that, they're still scratching and clawing and finding a way to win. This Chiefs team last year, if you were given these circumstances, they would have been cooked. They would not have been able to go into Los Angeles this early on in the year, suffer all that adversity, and find a way to win. I just don't believe it. They did not play this well at the beginning of the season last year, and it was because the offense was still trying to figure stuff out. Now you're kind of in the same position now without Rashee Rice. You're basically leaving the offense up to Xavier Worthy, Juju Smith-Schuster, Justin Watson, Sky Moore, and Mecole Hardman. And that is a terrifying rotation of wide receivers that you're really putting a lot of pressure on Xavier Worthy to go out there and succeed right away. And listen, Rashee Rice had that pressure last year, but he also had Travis Kelce. And so Travis Kelce is going to have to take, a lot more of the workload now that Rashee Rice is hurt. And it really sucks if you're Brett Veach, because you just watched your potential number one wide receiver, Hollywood Brown, get hurt in the preseason. He's done for the year. Rashee Rice gets hurt in week 4. He's probably done for the season. I mean, knock on wood, but Rashee Rice is gone for at least 2 months. Isaiah Pacheco, he's gone for 2 months. You had to bring in Kareem Hunt off the street. He came in his first game and looked like the guy that he was back in 2018. And so if this offense wants to function going forward, you are going to need to run the ball with Kareem Hunt. You're probably going to have to trade for a wide receiver or two. I would target Cleveland, maybe Jerry Jeudy. Cleveland just lost again today to the Raiders. But the Chiefs are going to have to make some moves to get this team back to a level that they can still compete. The three-peat is still viable, guys. This defense is so incredible they will give you a chance to win a game if the offense isn't great. The only thing is, I don't think this Chiefs offense has the necessary talent in that wide receiver room to propel this team over the top. And that's no shade towards Xavier Worthy. I just don't think that he's ready yet. And that's not saying that, he couldn't be ready a couple weeks from now or, maybe later on in the season, but to expect Xavier Worthy to right away be this team's number one wide receiver, I think that's unfair. I really do. And I think that he's probably not capable of having that same impact that Rashee Rice had last year. I think that, Xavier Worthy is going to have great moments, great spurts, as we saw today, that, 50-plus yard touchdown bomb that he caught, just running past the Chargers defender. But that's only going to work so much. And so I wonder how the Chiefs are going to feel about the current state of this wide receiver room. Maybe they have to go out and get somebody. I mean, that is entirely possible because you only scored 17 points. And most of the time, that number is not going to be enough to win you football games. And so I am incredibly interested to see what the Chiefs do moving forward. I think that you've got a really good foundation of Travis Kelce and Xavier Worthy, who both had fantastic games today. But I think that you've got to go out and get somebody else to at least hold it down until potentially Rashee Rice comes back. We don't know if Rashee Rice is going to come back, but at least we're holding out some hope that he could possibly return at some point this season. But again, the Chiefs were able to overcome multiple turnovers, multiple injuries, and they found a way to win a divisional game on the road. Patrick Mahomes, they were talking about this stat on the broadcast. When he is down by 10 points, not 9 points, not 11 points, when he is down by exactly 10 points, he was 11-0. And now he's 12-0 after beating this Chargers team in week 4, absolutely stunning the NFL by basically going on an incredible run with Samaje Perine and Kareem Hunt leading the charge. And so to see those guys produce early on in this game, I think that it's really nice to see because we're probably going to be relying heavily on them to produce later on in this season. And so without Rashee Rice, maybe we see a little bit of a Kareem Hunt resurgence here in Kansas City. And I think that's a very exciting thing, especially if you watch the way that he ran the ball today. I think it's very apparent that Kareem Hunt still has some juice left in the tank, and he could shock the world. With how he was running the football today, he was running with some ferocity, some tenacity, and I'm excited to see what that's going to look like going forward. I will say, I want to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, and that is the Hollywood Casino. The Hollywood Casino and Penn Play are giving you a chance to win Penn Cash. Snap a picture of your Monday night NFL bet from ESPN Bet and post it on Facebook, X, or Instagram on Mondays using the hashtag ESPNBetMF. Again, ESPNBetMF, and tag Penn Play and ESPN Bet for an entry. 50 winners will be announced each Wednesday following Monday night's game. Don't miss your share of $125,000 and follow the Hollywood Casino at Kansas Speedway and Penn Play for more information. Must be 21 to enter. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All of that information will be in the description of this video. But big shout out to the sponsor, Hollywood Casino, for sponsoring this content and helping me create stuff for you guys. But again, getting back to this game, the Chiefs were able to do something that infuriates every other NFL team, and that is find a way to win when nothing goes your way. This Chiefs offense in the first half was pitiful. It was very bad. And they were looking for any answer that they could find. And I think that once Patrick Mahomes connected with Xavier Worthy on that, giant bomb down the field, I think the tension in the room, they could kind of relax a little bit. They could breathe. At least they finally had, that big play, that big strike. They were finally on the board. And I think that was so important because that just built up Xavier Worthy's confidence going forward. You even saw on the last real play of the game when Xavier Worthy caught that ball in a crossing pattern and got the first down to ice this game for the Chiefs. He might not have had the confidence to, make that catch if he didn't have that touchdown, 2 quarters earlier. And so I think it's so important that going forward, you get Xavier Worthy involved early because you don't know if the game is going to come down to him making a big time catch. And that's what happened in this game. Without Rashee Rice, that might be what happens going forward. It might be pivotal that, Xavier Worthy makes a big time catch when it really matters. And they're going to need him to have, all the confidence in the world that he goes out there and makes that catch. And so I think that today, Xavier Worthy had a great game, but he's going to have to continue that moving forward with Rashee Rice's health status up in the air. But I want to know what you guys think down in this comments section. Who do you think had the best game for the Chiefs? I think the Chiefs had multiple guys put on a performance. I thought that Chris Jones, he absolutely killed it this game. He had a couple sacks coming in big time moments, rushing off the edge. Travis Kelce kind of silenced all of those haters earlier this week. The one saying that he was washed up, the one saying that he was finished. He had 7 catches for 89 yards. That's the kind of stuff that Travis Kelce does when you need him to go perform. When you need Travis Kelce, he is going to be there. And that's what you saw in this game. But also, we saw a guy who we're very familiar with, Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt signed off the street. I cannot stress that enough. Kareem Hunt was not playing football 2 weeks ago. You signed him off the couch. He came in and in his first game got 14 carries for 69 yards, averaging 4.9 a clip. That was more than he averaged all of last season. And oh yeah, last season he got in the end zone 9 times. He should have had that touchdown that Samaje Perine had. They took him out of the game, and Perine got the score. Doesn't really matter because the Chiefs ended up winning. But Kareem Hunt absolutely earned that, rushing touchdown if they would have given him that opportunity. He marched you down the field, and the biggest thing that I saw from him was on first down, the Chiefs would run the ball, and they would get 4 to 6 yards a carry, and it would put them at like a 2nd and 4 or a 2nd and 6 situation. And a 2nd and 4 is a lot more manageable than a 2nd and long. And it lets you do so many more things offensively. The Chiefs could try to go deep, or they could, run the ball again and get a manageable 4 yards, get another first down, pick up that, and just keep the clock going. And I think that going forward, I want to see the Chiefs incorporate that a lot more in the game plan. I think Kareem Hunt is capable of giving you anywhere from 100 to 150 yards a game if you give him, 18 to 20 carries. And that might be a necessity if this Chiefs wide receiver core continues to suffer injuries and, the health status of all those guys is still up in the air. But again, I want to give my props to the defense. The defense, they're the reason you won this game. When you needed your defense to make a play, they did exactly what they've always done for the past 2 seasons, and that's make a play. And so I think that we need to talk about how spoiled we are as Chiefs fans to see our defense go out and make great play after great play consistently. And listen, the Chargers have some great options. They've got some really good wide receivers in Ladd McConkey. Quentin Johnson actually looked pretty good today. He had a couple good catches. Last year, he wasn't able to catch anything. But we saw some Chargers wide receivers put on a pretty good day. But at the end of the day, the Chiefs were able to, minimize that. And outside of a Ladd McConkey touchdown, which was really an incredible throw and an incredible catch by McConkey in the end zone, that was really it. That was really it. Harrison Butker ended up missing like a 65-yard field goal, which, who can blame you at the end of the half for going for that? 65 yards is not a manageable field goal by any means, but I think if he takes that again, he's probably making it. And I think Dicker, their kicker, he missed a field goal as well. And so it made this game, a lot more entertaining as we went down into the late seconds of the fourth quarter because the Chiefs were driving. It was a tie game 10-10. Kareem Hunt was running the ball down the field. Patrick Mahomes was able to make the right throws at the right time. And Samaje Perine punched that ball in the end zone. And the Chiefs were able to escape this Week 4 game with a victory. And so there is so much to talk about in this game. And we're going to be talking about it all week long because we've got to talk about if Carson Steele's job is in jeopardy because he's fumbled the ball twice in the last 4 weeks. And that's not good enough for him. And that could be something that cost him his job. We saw Kareem Hunt come in and run the ball much more effectively, kept the ball safe, and Samaje Perine did the same. So who knows if Carson Steele's job is done here in Kansas City? Who knows if Rashee Rice is going to be back at any point this season? Who knows if the Chiefs are going to go make a trade for a wide receiver? There is so much stuff to talk about. So keep it locked in here on the channel this week. We're going to have a ton of stuff coming. I might try to get something up later tonight, but at the least that we have to worry about is that Rashi Rice is going to be out at least a couple weeks with that lower leg injury. And I think the Chiefs offense is going to have some trouble replacing his production. But today, against the Los Angeles Chargers, they got the job done, winning this game 17-10 in Los Angeles. The Chiefs moved to 4-0 on the season, number 1 in the AFC West, and the Chargers moved to 2-2. The Chiefs look to defeat, I think they played the Saints on Monday night at home. That's going to be a really fun game. But right now, the Chiefs are in an uphill battle. They're going to have to make some pretty tough decisions when it comes to the roster construction. And do they need to go out and sign somebody? I think they might. But we'll talk about that in another video. Again, the Chiefs were able to defeat the Chargers in this game by the final score of 17-10. Kareem Hunt, I would say, was the MVP, or at least one of the MVPs, if you're not going to give it to Chris Jones, of this game. And the Chiefs advanced to 4-0 on the season. For Michael Darcy, thank you for watching this Kansas City Chiefs post-game show presented by KC Sports Report.